maths inside it. 1 by 2, 2 by 3, 3 by 4, 4 by 5 coffee. That's only you can get it in Bangalore. So before we get on to more on the food side, but I think today we're here to discuss about 3 core topics in the panel. One is about the industry, academia, and the government collaboration that comes together. The second one to the panel, we'll talk about the future of Bangalore, sort of pivoting the next sort of growth for Bangalore. And the third area we'll come across, of course, Bangalore's a discussion on Karnataka is not complete without startups and the funding and the whole IPO part. Now, before I get started off on the question, all of you all know the esteemed panel on stage, but I think it's important that I do talk a little bit about each of the panelists in the way I see them. Let me start with Chris. Chris is the kind of innovator who just doesn't think outside the box. He designs the box, codes it, and then figures out how to make it more smarter if somebody opens it. Along with his interest in investments in the startup world, his family foundation also is very big into focusing on research on the brain, neurosciences, and more importantly, degenerative mental.
Inside that product. Because some part of that product, hardware, software, designed, developed in Bangalore. Now, the policy of the government has been to continue to elevate the demands for a world-class ecosystem to develop. The GCC policy continues to push the boundaries on what is to be done. So from a training perspective, you heard Nipuna Karnataka, training 100,000 people, 1 lakh people on some of the latest skills, because that's very important for the GCCs. Second is to ensure that we create a policy framework that allows not just to design and develop, but to even test it in Karnataka, which is the AI policy and things like that. So, together. And all this is possible because of the collaboration between industry, academia, and government. Just this event itself is a demonstration of that, because we work very closely together. Inputs are taken from all the stakeholders in every step of the way. And that's the reason why I believe that Karnataka is number 1, has stayed number 1, and will continue to stay number 1.
I think that's really very well put across. I like the way you said Bangalore inside. Just like Intel inside, and every tech solution, there's going to be a Bangalore inside. Very well put across. Minister Karge, do you want to add how the Nipuna Karnataka and the GCC connection establishes where the government plays a critical role in that?
Like Mr. Chris said earlier, the reason why Karnataka is ahead of the curve is because successive governments have always been a government that listens to the industry, to the academia. So have a look at all our policies so far that we have come up, whether it's the IT policy, BT policy, cybersecurity policy, AVGC policy, or even the GCC policy. Everything has been debated, deliberated for the GCC policy, for it to become a reality. And we set ourselves very ambitious targets. We intend to get 500 new GCCs. We intend to have $50 billion being churned out because of the policy in the next 4 to 5 years. And if I need to cater to that scale, I need to get to the bottom of the pyramid, and that is skilling. I need to ensure that I have the most talented human resource, not catering to the Indian ecosystem, but to the global ecosystem, because GCCs don't cater right to the local thing. So we are catering to the Americas, we are catering to the Europes, we are catering to different continents, and we need to ensure that our human resource have the best skill sets to deliver. And that is where Nipuna comes in. And the unique thing about Nipuna is that we are tying up with corporates, we are tying up with industries, we are tying up with think tanks, we are tying up with academia, and we are asking them what is the curriculum that you would suggest so that we can be future ready for skills. So it's going to be, like you saw, it's going to be in financial sector, it's going to be in cybersecurity, it's going to be in AI, it's going to be in biomanufacturing, bioengineering. So everything is coming, the demand is coming from the industry. For the first time, we are allowing corporates to use their corporate development fund, their CSR, and the government too is investing heavily on these, in this scheme. I think we are betting just like how IT-enabled services propelled Karnataka in the 90s and early 2000s. I think GCC policy is going to propel the nation for not just services, but I think R&D, innovations, and inventions. And like you said earlier, not a single product will go into the world market without a Kannadiga writing a code for it. So that's how ambitious we are. And thanks to the industry and the academic institutions, we will deliver on all fronts.
Wow, I think so well put across. Karnataka's had this great success ahead because of a government that listens and always, and that's not been the bedrock of where things are. And you did talk of biotechnology and bio, so that gives me a straight segue to Kiran. Kiran, you've been one of the key architects of the Bio E3 and collaboration. And Bio E3 policy feels like science fiction meeting human body and the environment across. So how can Karnataka take the lead in the whole bio policy, and how can we steer ahead than the rest using this, this as a launch pad?
So I personally believe, first and foremost, I want to echo Chris's, acknowledgement of the amazing job that the ITBT department has done, and congratulations to our dynamic minister, because I know he's been the force behind, lending the support to his team. But let me say that I'm very excited about new biology. And what do I mean by new biology? New biology is technology-driven biology. We could never do anything like what we can do today with biology because of the computational power that we have today to understand, sort, segregate, and inference from what we see and analyze. So let me give you an example. I always believe that living systems, let's take the human body itself, is the most complex data lake that you can ever think of. How is it that we, through whatever you might call it, quantum biology, in nanoseconds, we can basically look at all the data that's out there, sort it, segregate it, analyze it, annotate it, and respond. This is the marvel of biological systems. So if you start understanding how biology works, I do believe you'll crack many of the unsolved problems in the world. And I'll tell you why. For example, let's look at what is really challenging human beings today. One is, of course, this whole understanding of energy and energy storage, okay? We talk about biofuels, that's biotechnology. You've basically learned how to convert starch to energy, to ethanol to energy. Now, all this is fine, but let's start with solar power. Solar power today is really one of the biggest renewable energy sources that we are looking at in combination with wind energy. But the biggest challenge is storage. Plants have been storing solar energy through photosynthesis from the start. How do we learn from photosynthesis and solar storage, solar energy storage from plants, and convert it into a big biotechnology that can solve that problem? That's just one example. The other thing is we talk about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is iterative, large language model, understanding. So it's about based on existing knowledge, existing data. But living systems don't just rely on existing iterative information. They also have something called genetic data, genetic memory, based on which birds know where to migrate and how to migrate, right? But they need artificial intelligence, quote unquote, iterative data to catch the worm better and better every day. So we have two types of intelligence. One is artificial intelligence and the other is genetic human intelligence, intuitive intelligence. That's where we need to get to. So I think biology has a lot to offer. And I, for one, believe that if we are in the digital age today, we will be in the bioengineering age tomorrow, because that's what the future is heading to. And I'm very excited with the Bio E3 policy because biomanufacturing is going to provide answers to many, many challenges that we face today. Whether it is energy, whether it is food, whether it is feed, whether it is biomaterials, we have a lot to gain from biomanufacturing. Because today, between synthetic biology and cell-based fermentations through microbial or mammalian cells, we are able to, look at disease in a very different way. We are able to look at nutrition in a very different way. We are able to look at sustainability in a very different way. And the Bio E3 policy actually is focused on these 3 E's, which is environment, economy, and employment. I think Karnataka needs to focus on using technology-driven, approaches.
ಮೋದಿಯವರ ನಂಬರ್
biology,
2
to
ಜುಮ್ಲಾ ಯಾವುದು ಗೊತ್ತಾ?
manufacturing,
ಇದು ಬರೀ ನಂಬರ್ 2
and
ಜುಮ್ಲಾ
I
ಮಾತ್ರ
really
ಅಲ್ಲ,
believe
ಇದು
that
ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್
this is
ಲೆವೆಲ್
the
ಜುಮ್ಲಾ.
future.
ಈ ವಿಡಿಯೋ
This
ನೋಡಿ.
is where we have
और मेरा तो मंत्र है न खाऊंगा न खाने दूंगा.
ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮೋದಿಯವರು? ನ ಖಾऊंगा ನ ಖಾನೆ दूंगा.
I just wanted to also share the good news that you know that this year's Nobel Prize was won for chemistry was won by 3 researchers who developed predictive technologies for protein structures or protein folding at Google DeepMind and at a university, a research university of Chicago. But what is very interesting is that this morning I got the news that MIT has actually also announced an open source AlphaFold software, which is very close to what Google DeepMind has developed. And that will be available for researchers around the world to use. So I'm very excited about the predictive aspects of drug design, and what is very important for us to look at in Karnataka is precision medicine based on this. So it's very exciting what's happening, and what is interesting about Karnataka is and Bengaluru in particular, is the fact that we have many startups in these various domains. So I think we really need to bring it all together, convergence of technology, and learn from biology.
Wow, Kiran, I think before I go to Prashant, you literally transported us from BTS to a science and a biology class, and we could see the passion of a scientist come out in the way you speak with passion. I just want to continue the thread when you spoke about MIT and others bringing some new protein technology inside. How can academia in Karnataka play the role as well? Chris, you are very passionate about this topic as well, and Prashant, so I'd like you to take the lead and talk about bringing academia into the whole frame of GCC technology and bio.
I think that's a very important point that you've raised. I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing at many of our academic research institutions, not just in Karnataka, but across the country. But let's focus on Bengaluru. I think we are seeing some very, very cool research going on in various research institutes in our very city. So if you look at IISc, there's a group working thanks to, of course, Chris on brain research and neuroscience. There is, thanks to Prashant, there is a longevity lab. There is a lot of work going on gene editing, CRISPR technologies of a very different order. And it's very cutting edge CRISPR technologies, CRISPR bits that is being led by Dr. Vijay Chandru and others. You look at the Institute of Theoretical Sciences and their work on the LIGO waves and that's very interesting. You look at the National Center for Biological Sciences and the work that they're doing on mRNA and RNA in general, that's very interesting. So I think there is a nascency about what is happening. We need to get to critical mass. And I think that's where the government is also, doing its bit by encouraging industry to really support some of these initiatives. But what would be very interesting from my point of view is to focus on 3 or 4 moonshots and to get RFPs jointly from industrial research and academic research to pursue some of these goals. Alternately, I also believe we need to encourage an exchange program, getting professors from research institutes to take a sabbatical in industry and vice versa, industry to academia as adjunct faculty. That will bring the much needed connect, because science may be great, but it needs to be translated. The business of science is very poorly understood by scientists, and science is not very well understood by business. So I think marrying the two is extremely important.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Kiran. I'd like to get to Prashant. Prashant, I think I'd like to pivot the topic on Karnataka, Bangalore, and pivoting for the future. And picking up from where Kiran said, Bangalore's been having a long center and a leader in R&D, and even the Deputy Chief Minister spoke about, we've got institutions of repute like IISc, ISRO, NAL, CFTR, and many of those. How do you see Karnataka positioning itself in emerging manufacturing and new technologies, building on the strength that we've got, but also looking into the future?
Thank you. So it's really amazing to see new benchmarks and new levels set every year for the Bangalore Tech Summit. Thank you. I think the ITBT department and the visionary minister. It's great to see that no other state can come close to what we're able to do. So the leadership. Thank you. I think there are 2 areas that I feel would define the next 2 years. One is what I call as people plus AI. And I'd like to explain this for a minute. I think we're all very excited about LLMs and the large language models and what they can do. And I don't think there's some opportunity there in India to build LLMs for our native languages. But I think that's not where the opportunity is. These LLMs are not by themselves predictive. And these LLMs by themselves are not they don't have the right kind of specificity to address problems in health. They don't have the right kind of specificity to address very deterministic problems in finance. So what they need is knowledge graphs. So knowledge graphs have always been there. And this is very interesting how in our IT industry or the technology field, we all get excited and there's enough hype generated on something, but the real value is not in that hype. The real value is in embracing that, but building around that. So that's what I see today. LLMs help in presentation, LLMs help in communicating knowledge, information to the end user. But the real power is in the knowledge graphs and the neural networks, which were always there. But I think now you are able to marry the LLMs with the knowledge graphs, right? And because of that, you're able to now unleash a new AI power. But whether it's in healthcare, the legal domain, the finance domain, you can't use or consume information directly produced by AI. You need people. You need people to verify. There are always edge cases. You need people to see if are we violating those edge cases, and these can be very expensive. So I think this is where India's power comes into play, right? So it's not, because we have the engineering capability to build the application layers, and whether it's coding for healthcare, insurance, whether it is, the agentic AI-first employees that, I mean, today 5 to 10% of all employees hired in the US tech industry will be AI employees, which means they're not real people, right? The agent-first employees. But agent-first employees cannot work in a vacuum. They need to be able to work and collaborate with people and cohabitate with real people. And I think that's what we in India have the power to be able to marry the next generation of AI with capable human talent, which we already have here. So the application layer is where a lot of the new applications will be developed out of India. And Bangalore has the Art Park. We have multiple AI-led startups. So we'll definitely take the lead there. A related area and slightly different in some sense, is manufacturing, right? So I'm not talking about assembly line manufacturing. I'm talking about precision manufacturing. Karnataka has always had a background in aerospace, but now we have an ability to marry aerospace with robotics and hence precision manufacturing. And this is a different capability that no other state can bring to bear because of our capabilities in aerospace and our engineering capabilities and our capabilities in robotics. When I say robotics, these are vision-enabled robotics, which can handle precision manufacturing. So we have more than now 15 to 20 startups in India, which are building for aerospace and which are building for precision manufacturing. And finally, I think Kiran already spoke about new materials, novel materials that are bio-led. There are companies that are manufacturing new materials, bio-leather and so on with algae. And these are sustainable materials with low carbon footprint, low embedded carbon. I think, again, a huge opportunity for startups. And why are all these great opportunities, precision manufacturing, bio-enabled materials? I think because Global South today has a vacuum in terms of manufacturing capabilities because of one of the countries that is not today the favored nation in terms of being a single source supplier. So they are, every consumer globally is looking for a diversified supply chain. And there is no country that can give such a diversified supply chain at scale and in areas of deep science and manufacturing that we in India and specifically Bangalore and Karnataka can. So I think the future is not only in software, the future is in a little bit some of this heavy assets, but not in heavy assets. So, and I think we as a state need to now take the next leap into plus smart manufacturing and sustainable materials.
Hey, Prashant, thank you. I think you spanned across multiple topics, and that sort of gives a segue back, right? And definitely, given the geopolitical environment, India does have the advantage, and within that, you branched off into what Karnataka can do. I like the way you call upon saying it's not hard assets, but tech assets. So picking on from there, Mr. Priyank, does it give us an opportunity to look at, I mean, you're very passionate on centers of excellence. So for bioengineering, a bioengineering hub or a center of excellence, do you think that as a possibility? You've created that for tech, Electronic City and many other places, but for bioengineering, do you see that as a possibility?
Well, firstly, just come back to your previous question on why we are the leaders, why Karnataka is doing. I don't know if you noticed, but everybody subtly gave me a homework. Very subtly, all my chairs, the chairperson for IT, startups and biotechnology, very subtly told, Priyank, you need to start working on the next policy already. So they spoke about biomanufacturing, precision manufacturing, robotics and aerospace combined. We need to do something on materials and gases. We need to do something on bioengineering. So this is the reason why we are leaders. So every time I sit with my vision chairs, I get to learn something new and they give me homework to do. So the GCC policy, the Nipuna program, the cybersecurity policy were all outcomes of the previous conversation in the Bangalore Tech Summit. So in the last 1 year, we have delivered as promised. And that's what makes us tick. So coming back to your question of now about the bioengineering thing, we're already looking up, we've already earmarked some land for biofoundries. And the problem with the ecosystem is that, I'm sure Kiran ma'am will agree with me, is that we are very IT-centric now. But the good thing about the Bangalore, the Karnataka ecosystem is that the startups, 28% of all startups leverage deep tech. And the gestation period for biotech is a little longer. So the government needs to push people more towards this by providing better policies, better incentives, creating plug and play facilities. So we have already moved, we already have something called the BBC, we have the ABLE who are doing fantastic job, we have the CCAMP which is doing a fantastic job, all supported by the government, within government campuses. But I agree that we need to do more. And what we need to do better is like, usually we would think at the macro level, come up with a policy, then we went down to micro level. Now, if you see the policies that we are doing is at the nano level. So, like I said earlier, we need to build a strong foundation of academics and skills, top it up with incubations, and top it up with incubators that will drive innovations and inventions, top it up with market access for commercialization, or perhaps even government should start becoming the first customers for them, or provide them with a sandbox environment for pilots, and then bring in the policies and then go to market access for not just within the country but also outside the country. If we are able to build this solid pyramid right from skills to commercialization and also adopting it within the government, I think that's where scale will happen. So bioengineering, biomanufacturing, precision manufacturing in this particular vertical is something that we are very keen, and we will probably in a few months' time, we'll have a blueprint for the same to ensure that we will have some kind of a fertile environment, an ecosystem for startups to come and plug and play. And it's just not right here in Bengaluru. We are trying to do this across Karnataka. The Kalyan Karnataka region is now picking up with pharma. There's Hubli Dharwad, there's Mysore region. So we are trying to see if we can set up plug and play facilities for companies to come and experience the ecosystem, tap into the talent pool, ensure that better talent is developed locally so that we are able to create multiple Bengalurus across the state. In fact, recently we have released a very highly ambitious program where we intend to have 10,000 startups across verticals beyond Bengaluru. So we already have close to around 1,000 in each one of these clusters, so we want to go beyond that, and biotech is definitely going to be a huge thing. So in Mangaluru, there's a huge scope for marine biotech, what we are planning. So I think there is a lot of elbow room for improvement, and probably on behalf of the government, I'd like to assure everybody here that the government will ensure we accelerate ourselves in this particular vertical.
Thank you. I think I like the way you say that the visionaries give you homework, but I think you're a very diligent student who always excels in delivering the homework and doing well on that. So that's a compliment to you as well. I think Kiran, you
I,
want to add on, please.
no, I just wanted to mention something which the minister said, which I think is so important. You know, we are now trying to innovate and productize in manufacturing, coming up with new products. And I just wanted to remind ourselves in this city that the world's first handheld multilingual touchscreen device, the Simputer, was actually developed right here in IISc. And the tragedy was that although we came out with the first prototype and BEL actually produced 1,000 units and it was going to be the lowest cost device in the world, which was supposed to be used for education, the government across the country did not procure these devices. And by the time Simputer was acquired by a private enterprise and they tried to basically make a go of it, by that time the world had moved ahead and we had many more such devices. So we lost a golden moment in that innovation. And I think what the minister said about government procurement of new products is very important. So if we come up with new biomaterials, like you just mentioned, and it can replace bioplastics, I think we should take it on us to make sure that the government is the first user of that biomaterial, to set an example and everyone else will follow. And you can make a policy that we are getting rid of plastics because we have this new biomaterial. But unless you have economies of scale to make it cheap and affordable, you cannot productize anything. And the beauty of India is our scale. And if we can produce things at scale, believe me, we have global scale in everything we do, and that would be world-beating.
Absolutely. And talking of guns,
I think you'll be extremely happy to know that we are already working on a circular economy policy. So that's where, but the problem with the circular economy policy is it cuts across it cuts across every vertical and every sector. So we are trying that with the rural development department, and then slowly I think we will be moving on to the materials part of it across the various departments and across various verticals.
I think clearly government policy and defining for the future. Arvind, as at the helm of affairs at STPI, STPI was at the heart of incubation and over the years, right? And as you hear across here from a future perspective, how has STPI reinvented itself for the future from a policy making perspective and also helping the country get to the next level?
Thank you, Lingras. As you told, initially STPI was more for IT, ITS services. I think we have provided facility. We are like a facilitator to promote IT, ITS services. And the first 3 centers we opened, one at Pune, Bhubaneswar, and at Bangalore. And when the state policy was so good that Karnataka has taken lead, we were facilitating all state equally. But anyway, the state where you have a better policy got benefit out of it. Now in this change, we are also focusing more on software product. And for the software product, what we are doing is we are opening multiple center of excellence and center of entrepreneurship across the country. We have already opened 24 center of entrepreneurships. And these centers are basically technology specific or domain specific. Like in Bengaluru, we have 3. One is on IoT, it's called IoT Open Lab. Another is on healthcare, and third, which we have opened along with the Karnataka government, is on efficiency augmentation called EA, which will take care of industry 4.0 and all. Because now we have good talent pool, as everybody have the proud of that we have in India have the talent. I mean, this talent is just because thanks to people like Krishna Gopalanji, that we were all incidental engineer. We used to call ourselves as incidental engineer. We were on conveyor belt, and they caught us and they make us engineer. So you were in India, the education system was like this only, that if you are good in maths, you become do the BTech. Once you're BTech, then you do software engineer. People like Infosys, Kaskopal, they pick up you, and then you become the engineer. This is the way we have developed. So whether you are electronics engineer, you are mechanical engineer, or civil engineer, all have become the finally software engineer. So this is how now we are focusing on software product. And as far as future and technology is concerned, I think AI is going to in a big way. And I'm not much impressed when new technology develops like flying car. I'm more impressed when technology can give some early stage of cancer. It can it can detect the cancer at early stage, or drug discovery, which takes 20 years, it can reduce to 1 year or 2 years. Or maybe those who are differently able people, we can make a AI-based personalized tutor to them so that they can also contribute to the country. I mean, this kind of the application which this country actually is required, if we can develop such product, we can develop center of entrepreneurship for specific to these technologies, where we can think in terms of faster drug discovery, we can reduce the drug discovery period, or even today having this touch screen phone, iPhone, smartphone. There are many women maybe in the rural area, they are not able to use the fintech. If AI can help them to use fintech and become the part of main stream of this country, I think that will be great. That will be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Arvind. I think that was a very clear way. I think now we'll move to the third topic of our session, which is on startups, funding and IPO. I think Prashant, all eyes on you. While 2023 was a slow year for funding, 2024 has shown green shoots of recovery, and we just heard about Swiggy's launch from Bangalore. So how do you see this impacting Karnataka's startup? And also following on question is, we see more IPOs from Delhi, so compared to Bangalore, and how do we get more going out here?
So the good news is that we have caught up on the IPO pace. So we had Swiggy, which was the 9th largest ever IPO in India in terms of scale, right? So that was a big one for Bangalore. We have Black Buck, which is going for IPO on Thursday from Bangalore. Of course, we had Office that IPO'd from Bangalore. We have 3 more IPOs lined up. So I think we're catching up. So I don't think we are any worse off or we're in a laggard when it comes to IPOs. So we will have a lot of Ola Electric. Yeah, Ola Electric had an IPO. So I think that is good news that we have. I think next year, my prediction is that we will have as many IPOs from Bangalore as Delhi or more. So
wow, that's rocking.
Yeah. Now on the funding, also there is good news. This quarter has been the best quarter in the last 3 years. So we have had a 100% growth in funding year on year. The same quarter to this quarter. So we had almost 3.4 billion just in this quarter of new funding in the venture ecosystem. And this is where Bangalore is special. I don't think we talk about it too much. 90% of all venture funds now, and this is a very interesting phenomena. You had, when we started out in the startup ecosystem, not all venture funds started from Bangalore. So we had them almost equally distributed between Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore. 90% of the venture funds now are either primarily moved to Bangalore or the major operations are from Bangalore. So when it comes to the vibrancy of the startup ecosystem, I mean, what makes the Silicon Valley talent, which our Honorable Minister is doing everything that the state can to make that, make our raw material the best. But I think funding is where we excel in our state. When it comes to early stage innovation, it makes a big difference. And a lot of these funds are deep tech funds, sir, which is, you'll be happy to note that there have been 3 to 4 deep tech funds that have set up shop in Bangalore. So it's the right time for entrepreneurs. And there's one area I did not mention, defense. So there is a net deficit of production capacity, just like there is in aviation in defense now. The Russian defense ecosystem is caught up in its own challenges, and there are other ecosystems that are not able to, and the US ecosystem can produce, of course, but not for the rest of, for everybody. So India, I think, will now in the next 10 years, you will see a lot of startups. There are 6 to 7 startups that have just started, and there is a lot of intersection between precision manufacturing and new materials and defense. This is a great startup opportunity. Coming back to funding, I think it's the entrepreneurs' capability to marry their prowess, their innovation with global markets that will really create us into a $5 trillion economy or a $7 trillion economy. It is really, that's where the opportunity lies. And funding is not a problem. There's enough funding that wants to come in, but I think entrepreneurs have to marry this demand.
Sure, Chris.
I just want to bring another dimension to the funding space. Bangalore leads in philanthropic funding to innovation and research. I'll just give you one example. The modular open source identity program, which is housed in IIIT Bangalore, funded primarily through philanthropy, is making waves around the world. It's being now installed almost in 22 countries around the world. About 100 million people are getting identity through this software code, which we are exporting to the rest of the world, and that number is increasing. We had a very large Manotsava, which is the mental health program, again, and I think we had the largest number of NGOs supporting mental health in Imhans, in about 2 weeks back, actually. The philanthropic support to cities causes, to mental health, to research, everything, and the interesting thing is mostly it's first generation entrepreneurs who are now coming forward to support causes, including research, innovation, etc. And I also want to say that Elevate, that Karnataka government launched a few years back, has become the largest grant-making program to startups. I think we spend now about 120 crores per year. 236 crores. The minister has corrected me.
Wow.
236 crores is spent as grants to startups. Where else I think you can get that. So this is what I think differentiates Bangalore from many other states, and this is how the industry, academia, startups, entrepreneurs, all working together to address the issues, address the future opportunities. I think that's what gives Bangalore the edge and the lead.
I think, Chris, thanks for jumping in on that, because the philanthropic funding is something which seems to be very unique out here. Minister Priyank, taking on from that aspect of it, do you also want to talk about the Elevate program that the government has launched and how it's helping the startup world?
I think Elevate program has been one of the anchor reasons why there's a fair bit of startup stimulation that happens through the government. And we give up to 50 lakhs to startups to just stay afloat. So the origins of Elevate was that we wanted to see how we can ensure more number of startups succeed. I mean, the failure rate is huge. So how can I reduce that failure rate by at least 15%, 20%? That's what got us thinking, and that's why we started Elevate program. And it's just not about funding. It's about giving the right mentorship, giving the right incubation. If they're actually solving a real life problem like Dr. Arvind mentioned, can the government be the first customer? And also providing them market access with our Global Innovation Alliance members. Can a startup whose service or a product is good enough for the Indian market, can they flourish in Germany? Can they flourish in the United States? All these things together make Elevate. So we are throwing at them a life vest for them to survive with grants. We don't take a single percentage of stake, zero stakes. It's a grant. They don't even have to repay us. The only way they can repay us is by succeeding. And we give them that life jacket. We wait for them to stay afloat. So till somebody like Prashant picks them up. So the idea is that, and you'll be quite surprised that till date, we have done over 950 startups. We have funded 950 startups. And if you add how many people we have given incubation, how many people we have given access to government, how many people we have given access to mentors, it goes beyond 2,000, 3,000. I think this is something that people did not expect a government to do. And after we did it, that's when Startup India also did it. Niti Aayog came, sat, figured it out, and they said, we are going to do it. You'll be quite surprised. Even before we launched it, Niti Aayog said they are going to do it the Karnataka model. We had not even launched it here as yet. So, and of course, thanks to the entire ecosystem. If we do not talk to the ecosystem, if we do not talk to the industry leaders, the corporates, we will never understand. And more importantly, just look at what is happening today at the Bangalore Tech Summit. We have, for the first time, something called the Startup Springboard, where we have close to around 300 startups pitching to over 100 angel investors or venture corporate funds. I mean, show me any other state who's doing this and who's capable of doing this. Getting in 100 VCs, getting in 300 startups, getting them under one roof to pitch their idea, and what more can a startup ask? In fact, we recently had a water summit, because I also am the Minister for Rural Development and Panchayat Raj. Water is a very important source for sustainability for my department as well. So when we had that water summit, we had more than 135 startups coming to us and telling us how to manage grey water, how to treat water better, and how to increase the portability of water, some kids came up and said that I can make water out of thin air as well. So we evaluated everything. We awarded close to 27 of them, and the top 10 will be working with the government of Karnataka within my department in the rural water supply to figure out how we can build a better and a more sustainable Karnataka. So we are leveraging startups for the government as well. So I think this is something that Elevate is as a platform gets you, Elevate as a scheme gets you. This is, I think, thanks to the industry support, this has worked out phenomenally well for our entrepreneurs here. So I always keep saying this. So earlier in the 90s or 2000s, when matrimony sites would be asking, like, what does the guy do? They would say they would be working in Infosys or Wipro, then madhve guarantee. So like shadi pakki hoti. But now in Bangalore, look at how even the matrimony ecosystem has changed. Before, if you were working in Infosys or Wipro, you were assured of a bride. Now, they say that I'm an entrepreneur, they ask how much stake do you have. So we have moved even there. So that's how good we have done, and I think the credit should just go to the entire ecosystem in Karnataka.
Yeah, I think we've sort of come to the close of our serious round. And I like the way the minister puts it across, that apart from everything else, your matrimonial, it disrupted even that industry as well as the dynamics of the industry. Very rarely we do get a very high-powered panel like this. And you all have given so much in your lives and in this session. I do want to take one personal take back from each of you all to the audience out here, youngsters across. I think with the amount of work that you all put in, and I'm sure this being really unbound draws a lot of your creative energy. So what do you all do to bring that energy back, or what is your source of energy? What do you draw your source of energy from? Give me one thing that the folks can pick up from your personal lives or the way you work through on your source of energy. One thing.
I'm just so very inspired by the young startups. I think they have wonderful new ideas and they're able to take it to the market and scale it. I think that's what inspires me, saying that these are very cool ideas and they somehow have the passion to drive those ideas and make it successful in the marketplace. That's what drives me. And of course, I'm so driven by the new technologies because I think that's what is really very exciting. And what's even more exciting for me is that in our city, we have such a rich talent pool of very, very bright young minds.
Well, Kiran took away my inspiration. That is, but beyond that, I think one inspiration that really drives me is this belief and this mission that it's India's time now. And India's time and Bangalore's time to excel. And I don't think our entrepreneurs, like Kiran said, will let us down. So that mission to support these entrepreneurs, to have them realize their unbounded potential is what drives me.
Arvind?
I'm impressed, or inspiration could be now those who have been successful entrepreneurs, they want to give back to the society. They want to connect the dots. That is the different phenomena which I am looking at. And this gives a lot of energy that those who have been really successful, they want to give back to our society, back to our country. They want to connect the dot. This gives inspiration to me.
Chris?
So, plus, and I won't repeat those things. I will just add to that. India is yet to develop, right? We are still a low-income country. Per capita income is about 2,700, 2,800. We are the fifth largest economy, going to be the third largest soon, but per capita wise, we are a low income country. So the opportunity is every single day with new technologies being introduced, we can reinvent things. We can recreate a magic. We can actually give the world a new development model, which is sustainable, which is equitable, which is affordable, which actually takes 8 billion people in the world together rather than the top 10% of the world. Because that's what India can provide to the world. And that's what drives me, because opportunities are infinite. Human potential is infinite. There is no limit to what human mind can create, actually. So how do we leverage all that? And we have talent. So how do we leverage all that to create a better India, to create a better world, and in doing so, it's like win-win-win everywhere, right? So that's what drives me every single day. I think the people in the room are fortunate. So how can we bring more people into the fold and give them a better world?
Well, it's a very difficult question to ask a politician. Because if I say one thing, somebody else might get upset. But I think what drives me the most is the people, A lot of people think that when I meet people beyond my state, they think that because I'm the Minister for IT, I come from Bengaluru. But my constituency is 600 kilometers away from here. I come from a rural area. I come from a rural background. And I think when you meet so many people, that's when you realize that you don't know anything. You might be the minister, you might be the CEO, you might be everything, but when you meet people from diverse backgrounds, when you meet people from different economic situations, when you meet people from different demography, there's so much to learn. And there's so much things that you can do as a policymaker. So I think what drives me is the wisdom that is available with the people of my state, with the people of my country, and how we can leverage that to change society as a policymaker. It's just nothing to do with technology at all. As a policymaker, as a legislator, I can do anything I want to ensure that we build a better society, we build a better Karnataka, and thereby build a better India. And the energy, the inspiration will come only when you listen to people, only when you're with people, when you're among them, and when you're willing to learn, when you're willing to unlearn and relearn. I think that is what is the cycle that keeps us going, and that's what I think serves as an inspiration to keep bringing out and churning out the best possible policies and schemes day in and day out for the people. So I think for me it is the people and their wisdom that they are willing to share with me.
Wow, awesome, and what a way to sort of bring this panel to a close. Great session, lots of insights, but more importantly, laying out the underlying factors that impact industry, academia, government, relationships, and how it can progress the industry. We spoke about visualizing the future for Karnataka and Bangalore. We spoke of the startup world. We learned a lot from their personal areas that drive their energy. And as I bring the session to a close, one word of an answer as we move from Apara to the lunch break, Ahara. One word of what you really like as your favorite food of Karnataka or Bangalore. This is for our international delegates, so that they should definitely go and taste that back. So maybe I'll start from this side. Minister Priyank, one food, one dish or one cuisine of Karnataka.
Well, now that you have suggested, next time probably I should have North Karnataka cuisine also in this thing, because you don't get
Karnataka.
yeah. So the region from where I come from, we have something called the jolid roti.
Jolad roti.
So if you eat that in the morning, you don't need anything else in the thing. So that's something that my mother makes, extremely thin, very nutritious. Now what you call it as superfoods, what you call as millets is the new thing in. So that's something that we make at home, and she makes one, nimgotirate, pundi chutney, this thing, now in our thing. So I think that's one of my favorite, which my mother makes. I think that's, you eat one of that, you're done for the day.
So jolad roti. Chris?
Sort of complete food for lunch is bisi bele bath.
So jolad roti, bisele baat taken. Chris, Kiran?
No, he stole this word out, this dish out of my mouth also. I think bisibele bhat is the complete meal. But I think I'm very fond of, food in this part of the country. And almost, I mean, everyone knows that, benne dose, all these are really, really nice.
So benne dose gone.
Yeah, of course, dosa, but I will, there's this other good, which is more indulgent, which is, there is a local version of biryani called, which is donne.
Oh, donne biryani, wow.
Donne biryani, which is specific to it's also called Dakkani biryani. It's made with a small rice.
Okay.
Very different from the Hyderabad biryani, and so try the local biryani.
Arvind, you're a visitor here, so.
Like or not like masala dosa.
So thank you very much. I think I'll need to bring the session to a close. I've got a timer out staring at front of me. Again, you've been a wonderful audience, great panel, and once again, thank you very much. Your inspiration, your insight, and everything that you lay back for the future of Karnataka and the things that you have in your mind to give is really impactful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Once again, a big round of applause to the stalwarts on stage from whom you've heard what the future holds. Please stay back on the stage for a few minutes. May I now request Mr. Lingaraj? Okay. Coming up, that would be the last event for this morning before you can break for lunch. So here is a video, and the session is about the video is going on in Innovation Hall. So all of you can proceed there. Please watch.